Hello. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can set up your new ERPRev account if you produce what you sell. All right. So for every new account, you would receive your login details via email, and that login details will include your access URL. That's your URL. You would receive your user ID, which is usually one. Then password, default password is admin. Okay. Once you do that, you're expected to open a browser, any standard browser out there, insert the URL and submit. Then also go ahead, put your user ID, put your password. So this is the default password. You'll go ahead and so it will take you to where you were expected to change the password to something else. If you don't do that, the system will not allow you advance to do any other thing. So I'll input the current password, then I'll input a new password. Password that you input, it's at least 8 characters long, and it has at least one special character. It has capital letters, and it also has small letters as well. Once I'm done, just go ahead and click on submit. Once it's submitted successfully, it will show you that password successfully changed. Then it will take you straight to where you're expected to do your basic configuration. So in this account, you can see here, you can select your preferred time zone, your preferred date format. You can select if you allow multiple office location. That's for people that have multiple outlets. Then multiple currency for those that need that. Then accrual accounting. Then this is important, categories and class. Same with the accrual accounting. Then you can enable the tax system if it applies in your region or not. Okay, so once you're done, you click on next. So let me just clear this and select multi-location, accrual accounting, use tax system. Okay, so if it's unchecked, it will appear like this. If it's checked, system will want to know whether it's VAT inclusive or VAT exclusive. Once you're done, click on next. Then system will take you to another page where you're expected to specify the type of business. So I'll say we render services, we use raw material, and here I'll choose we produce what we sell. Now, in your organization, if you also buy and sell, that's you buy products from other people, just add your own profit margin and sell, then you need to enable this as well. But if all the items in your outlets or in your company is produced by you, then you click we produce what we sell. And also in the organization, if you use raw material product as part of raw material to produce another product, then you need to check this box. Okay. But for the purpose of this demonstration, we'll just leave it at this. We click on next. It takes us to another page where you specify if you want mobile number to be compulsory, if you want mobile number to be unique, and same with email, company name, and all of that. So I'm just going to go ahead and use this particular settings. However, if you use barcode, you need to enable barcode as well, but they're very self-explanatory. I'll click on next. Here you're expected to select your logo, ensure that the logo is in this format, JPEG, GIF, PNG, and should not be more than 200 kilobytes in size. You click here to select it from your local drive, but I'm not going to do that in this demo. Okay, just go ahead and submit. Now the system has been configured. If we change our logo, it will be updated here automatically. Okay. Now we have a list of things we want to do. So let's go ahead and jump into the next one. So now we've changed, we've done, we've logged in, we've changed our password, done basic configuration. The next thing we need to do is to, since it's a new account, I would advise that you register office location. That is, if you have multiple office location, but if you don't have multiple office location, you can skip this particular step. But in order to register office location, just mouse over to the left, go to administration, you see location, click on register location. Now, if you did not enable that use multiple office location, this location option won't even appear. Okay, so here I'm just going to call it uh, sales outlet. You can call your own anything, put the address here. Put the mobile number and the contact email and website that would appear on the invoice for customers that purchased from that office location. Go ahead and submit. Now, once you've done that, you can always go to view locations and fetch data to see all the locations that you have. So if I fetch data now, you see all the outlets that we have, and you see the ones that the one we just registered now that we call sales outlets. Okay, but by default, it's only one office location comes in, and it is called uh, main store, I mean head office rather. But you can click on this pencil icon here to edit it to whatever you want. You're done, you submit. Okay, now we've registered our office location. We viewed office location. The next thing we need to do is to attach a warehouse to that office location. It could be, you see here, it's called warehouse. Some people call it store. Some call it parking store. Whatever name you choose, it's possible to change the label to align with what you call it in your organization. So I'll just go ahead and click on register warehouse. In this case, select that office location, which is sales outlet, and call it sales stock or inventory or whatever name. So we've done that. Let's view warehouses. So you can see here for this particular warehouse, it is attached to the office location called sales outlets. Okay. It's also possible to attach users to these different outlets such that only people who you attach to this outlet will be able to sell stock from the outlet. And it's possible to attach more than one warehouse to one office location. But if you want to do that, I would strongly advise that you seek the advice of an ERPRev expert so that you would get to know the implication of doing that. Okay, and we also have tutorial videos that cover that extensively. So I'll close this. So now we've registered warehouse, we've viewed warehouse. Since it's a new account, I'll strongly advise that you register department. So how to register? Click on department, register department. By default, is only one department that is registered, and it's called administration. So you can go ahead and register a new department here. So I'll just call this one, say production. Sorry, function. Okay, so I go ahead and submit. Now, that you can also go ahead and view departments. Before now, I'd registered other departments. Fetch data, you'd see those departments alongside the one I just registered now, which is called production department. In your organization, maybe you might call it units, as in instead of department, you can change the label as well. All right. So now the next thing we need to do is to register the staff that would use the system, because I want to believe that it's not just one person that would log in to use the entire system. You would need to create account for the sales people, the inventory person, the organization manager, the accountant, supervisors, depending on how your business is configured. So if you're the only person that would use the system, then you can skip this step as well. But if you have different people that will be working in your organization or that work in your organization, then you need to still come to under administration, staff, register staff. Now, cleaners, security operative, drivers, and all, so long as they work with you, they're still your staff, but they might necessarily not have a login detail. So only those who would log into the software to do one thing or the other are the ones that we regard to as system users. But every other person that works with you should be registered as a staff. And you need to note that you cannot become a system user until you are first registered as a staff. So you must be registered as a staff first before you can even become a system, before a user account can be created for you. So let's go ahead and register a staff. Let's say call this person. Okay. Then you input the staff phone number. You can put the country code and type in the mobile number, type in the email address as well here, then input the address, the house address of that staff member. Okay. Okay. Then you select the gender and date of birth. You can click here to pick. If you want to select the year, you can click where you have the year. You can scroll down and select any year you want. Okay. So I'll just leave it as today. But pick it if you have employee numbers, you can put the employee numbers here. So this particular person, we're going to call this person um customer service representative. Then you can select the date you employed the individual. Let's assume the person was employed on the 1st of January. Okay. Then you can select the department as well. So you see all the different departments. Let's assume this person is in the sales department. Then you can go ahead and select the office location that you want to attach this individual to. Okay. So let's put this one in the inventory. Okay. Then you can also put the picture, side stats of payroll. If you're on the ultimate plan, you see this payroll tab, additional info, special notes. But I'm just going to go ahead and submit. It's possible to import information of multiple staff into the system at once. There's a tutorial video that shows how to do that. So I'll click on submit. Let's see, have we imputed everything correctly? The system has refused to allow me submit. So let me refresh this. Okay, let me just speak. All right. And administration, let me give the person a different department, say inventory, office location. Let me put this person in the sales outlets. I submit. All right, so successfully submitted now. The next thing is we're going to create users. You can create as many staff as you want, no limits. Then you can click here to view the staff. So you see the person we just registered here, staff with ID 5. Okay, let's go to users. Now I'm creating a user, register user. See, the default password for every system user is admin. And staff, I'm going to select a staff. So this Branson Gloria. Then here, the system gives you an opportunity to select predefined privilege group. So this is like the person's role. If you don't do that, if you don't specify a particular set of role for that individual, then you're also at liberty, let me clear this, you're also at liberty to manually check the different things you want to give this person access to under the different tabs before you submit. But if you click specify role, assuming you have, say, reps, instead of doing this for each staff, each system user manually, I can just click on sales rep. System would know all the role that this individual is supposed to have and will grant the person the set of privileges. Now you might be wondering, okay, how do I know? But before we go do that, remember that the default password for this person is admin. You'll be wondering, okay, how do I know the privileges that uh, sales rep has? So just mouse over to the left, go to administration. Then you'd see under users, you see view predefined privileges, fetch data. These are the different predefined privileges. You can click on this pencil icon to edit any one of them. So let me maximize this. So you see everything that is checked here, this person has access to, or anybody we tell the system is a sales rep would have access to all these things. You can see under administration, nothing. Under finance, a few things. As you can see, under procurement, nothing. Product inventory. So if you feel that there's anything here that this particular rep needs to have access to, or anybody who is a sales rep needs to have access to it, you can just go ahead and check that box. So for example, if you want them to be able to reverse or cancel customers related transaction, you just check this box and you go ahead and submit. Okay. But I don't think it's a privilege that would want the sales rep to have. We would rather have them let someone else know, even though the system keeps log of every invoice or receipt that is deleted. Okay, so I'll go ahead and submit. Whatever update you made to this predefined privilege will take effect, and anyone who is assigned to this particular role will automatically have access to what you've just done. Okay, so now we've looked at how to register, create a user account. Now, in your business, you buy raw materials from material or the active ingredients that you use in producing the items that you sell. You buy them from people. So it's important to register your suppliers. Okay, it's not a compulsory step. Anyways, there are some people that prefer to just say, okay, I don't want to register suppliers. I want everything to be anonymous. But for proper accounting, if you want to register your suppliers, so you want them to keep track of who's supplying what, as at when, at what rate, how much you pay to the person, how much balance you need to make, and all of that, the system allows you to do that. And how do you do that? You go to this time around, you go to procurement, supplier, supplier. You can also mass import your supplier's information into the system. And I'm going to show you the ideal way of registering a supplier. Not necessarily as in compulsory that you do it that way, but if you want, when you're looking at your financials, you don't want all suppliers' information, they're outstanding, to be under just one line called payables. If you want all suppliers' information broken down, then you need to follow this particular step I'm about to show you. So under register supplier, you need to input the supplier name, the person that you're in contact with in that company. Okay. Let's assume it's called Mr. John Peter. Then the company name is all right. So here you type the address here. You put the state, type the country, and you put the mobile number, the email. Now here, you see there's an option here that says map general ledger account. It's not compulsory, but if you want to do it the proper way, all you just need to do is mouse over to the left, go to finance, go to general account. This would only appear if you enable accurate accounting when you're doing your basic configuration. Now you go to create account, click on create account. Then remember, when you're creating an account for suppliers, the account type, it's payable. Please don't mix it up, because if you make any mistake in this account type, you won't be able to edit it. You might be able to edit the code, the account code on the account name, but the account type, you won't be able to edit it. So I'll call this, let's say, stop. You can give your own account code. And what's the name of the supplier? Special supplier. Okay. Now make sure that the account type is payable if you're registering, if you're creating an account for a supplier. I'll go ahead and submit this. Once I get this feedback, all I need to do is come over to this place, map general ledger account, click here and search for the name, special. You see it here? You can see the account type is payable. Select, and I go ahead and submit. Now we've registered supplier, a particular supplier. You can register as many suppliers as you want, but by default, every new account comes with just one default registered supplier, and we call that, let me show you, anonymous. All right, see the second supplier we just registered here now. Okay, so here, the next thing we need to do is register items attributes. So in your organization, you might have what you call now. You have, let's assume you make pastries. You might have snacks. You might have or not even pastries. Let's say during the food industry generally, you might have meals, you might have drinks, and all of that, and you would want to categorize them. So you go to items attributes, register category, because by default is only a category called NA that is. So you go here, you type the name. Let's call it let's even say we want to have a category for raw material. You can select the location you want it to apply only. You can put a thumb image. Let's say packaging. And say you can call it, let's say cream. You just have, you generally you have the idea of what I'm talking about. Let's call this one soup. Maybe different categories, assuming you make different kinds of creams and different kinds of soaps. Okay, so now if we go to items attribute view categories, fetch data, you see the different categories that we've created here. Okay, now you can do the same thing for class. And it's possible to change this name. Let's assume your organization, you don't want to use category, you want to use brand, or you want to use color or size. You can do all of that here. Now, the next thing we need to do now is to register raw materials that you deal on. Okay, so you go to material inventory, material, register material. It is possible to mass import the records of all the raw materials that you have here and their quantity. You can do that from here. Material stock importation. You see, cover this, a tutorial video that covers this that you can watch. We're not going to go into this particular demo. All right. So here I'm going to select the name of the raw material. Let's call it bottle 100 ml. In the organization, let's assume we use these bottles in pieces. But when we buy the bottles, see, I've clicked on add more unit of measurement. Let's assume we buy these bottles in, let's say, 100 bottles make 1 carton. I could even say, okay, 15 carton make 1 truck, something like that. But I'll just stop at that. Then here, system wants you to put the cost price for 1 piece. So let's assume one piece of this bottle costs 1,000. Then the reorder level in pieces. Remember that the reorder level will have to be based on this unit of measurement. And this unit of measurement needs to be the unit of measurement with which this item is used in the organization for production. So even if you buy some things in bags or in drums, but if the production unit is in kg or in ml, that's what you put as the unit of measurement here. Then you can use this additional unit of measurement conversion to do the rest. Okay. The other level is based on this unit of measurement, which in our own case for this item is in pieces. So the other level is the quantity you want the system to take note of, so that once your stock is below that level, system will notify you. So let's assume 500 units. If the item has the barcode, you can type in the barcode here, or you can click here to use your device camera to scan the barcode. So I won't allow. I'll close this. Now, category. See the categories you registered the other time. So this one is the packaging material. Then I can go ahead and click here to create empty stock record. It's very important. I submit. Let's register another one. Let's call this one special liquid. Let's assume this particular one, we use it in ml, and 1000 ml is equals to 1 liter, and 25 liter is equals to 1 container. All right. So I'll put the price for 1 ml here. Let's assume 1 ml costs 15. Yeah. The other level in ml, if say 25 liters is our 25,000, then I'll go ahead and select this. Maybe I call this raw material. Then create and check this box for empty stock record and submit. Then let's register one last raw material. This time around, let's call it base. Just making this up. Base. But let your raw material names be very descriptive. Base, as in exactly the way you have them on your recipe to avoid confusion. So let's assume base is used in grams. Okay, so I'll tell the system that 1000 gram is equals to 1 kg. You might be wondering, how did we get this unit of measurement? You always see here, somewhere here, add additional unit of measurement, add additional UOM. Then once you click on it, that's when it will display this for you. Please don't forget. Okay. Then I can tell the system that, okay, maybe 10 kg is equals to one drum. Okay. Then the price in kg, let's assume this one costs 20. The other level, let's use half drum. That's half drum with 5 kg. That's 5,000 grams. Okay. Then this is also a raw material. Then enable create empty stock record. So now we successfully registered 3 raw materials. You see the steps I'm taking? So view raw materials, fetch data. These are the 3 raw materials we've registered. You can go ahead and register as many raw materials as you use in your organization, and you can also mass import the information as well. Okay, so now that we registered raw material, let's go ahead and now register product. Let's register a product that you sell in your organization, as in something that you produce. So let me go now to product inventory, products, register products. Please note that if it's a new account and you've already been producing before you start using the software, and you want to bring in the products that you currently have, right? You want to bring in the product that you currently have, under this product stock intake, you need to enable that option that says we buy and sell initially, just to bring in. Once you do that here, you see another option here that says register stock intake. That's the option that you would use to bring in the initial items that you have. But afterwards, you will need to now start using this register production intake. Let me even change the color of the highlighter. This one, register production intake. On no account should you use this register production intake bug, because the essence of using the system is to allow the system help you calculate your cost price, the cost price for producing your items with the last cent or the last couple or the last few, depending on the currency that you're using. Okay, but if you use this one, the system is not going to help you do that. However, if you use this, that's I'm talking about after you've brought in the initial item that you have using register stock intake. After you've done that, subsequently you'll be using this. System would help you register the items that you've produced, and at the same time deduct the corresponding raw material that is required to produce that item, and also help you calculate the cost on the recipe that you set and the current prices of those raw materials are set by you. Okay, I just thought I should explain that because it's very important. So now we just want to go ahead and register a product one after the other. But if you want to mass import, there's an option here that says product stock importation. If I click on it, you can see it gives you option to do that. Yeah. All right. So here, register stock. I'm going to go ahead. Register product. I'm going to go ahead and just call it 50 gram or special bar soap. Let's say it's 50 grams. No, the next thing is, how do you sell this item? What's the least quantity that a customer can buy? If a customer can buy one piece, can walk in and buy one piece or order for just one piece, I'll put here pieces. But if it's carton that is the least quantity that they can buy, you can put carton here. But notice that there's option here for me to add more unit of measurement. You see here, okay? I'll click here and tell the system that, okay, if somebody buys 12 pieces, it equals to 1 dozen, and let's say 4 dozen is equals to 1 carton. Now you can go ahead and impute the selling price, leave the cost price field blank. Impute the selling price because we want the system to help us calculate the cost price. So in terms of default selling price, I'm going to go ahead now and tell the system that, okay, maybe we are selling this item 1,000, or let me say 10,000. Okay, now the default reorder level is the quantity that you want the system to take note of, so that if this particular product, this bars of 50 gram, is lower than the reorder level you set, system will notify you so that you can, plan another batch of production. And this notification can be in app, via SMS, and via email, depending on how you configure it. And it will also appear on your dashboard if you choose to have it appear there. Let's say if we have less than 50 in stock, if it's an item that is taxable, you enable this option. It's enabled by default. If it's not, you can uncheck it. All right. Then I'll put the description and all, but for category, I can just call it, let's say it's soap. Then if you had created class, you select the class that it applies, that it falls under. Then I can also click here to say create empty stock record, and I'll go ahead and submit. If it's an item that can only be sold or should only be sold by a particular office location, you can specify that from here. So I'll go ahead and submit. Now we've registered the product, but watch. Because we enable the option that we produce what we sell, system gives us this information that this product with ID1 has been registered. It gives us the option to register production requirement. It also gives us another option to view product details. Okay, what we're interested in now is to register production requirement. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll click on register production requirement. And if you did not do that, you missed that step, you can still go to product inventory. You can still go to product inventory. Then you see production requirements. You see the option to register production requirement. It will still bring you here. Okay. So this is product ID 1, base quantity. The base quantity is the quantity that you as an individual, you know the amount of raw material that is required to produce that base quantity. So if, for instance, let's say this special bar soap, 50 grams, it's possible I don't know what goes into producing one piece of 50-gram bar soap, but I know what goes into making 1 carton, right? And let's say 1 carton is 48 pieces. All I just need to do is I'll click here where you have this base production quantity and put 48, right? This could be bread, it could be clothes, it could be anything that you produce. Now, you see where you have materials, click to select material item. I'll click here. System would list out all the raw materials that I have registered. But I'm going to do something now just to show you the way the system works. Remember, we've not told the system the quantity of each of these raw materials that we have. We only registered raw materials and created empty stock records. Okay, so I'll come here and tell the system that, okay, base. I'll select, let's assume these 3 raw materials I used in making this item. Okay, what happened? I would need to refresh this page. Say I'll refresh. Okay, we were using 48. I'll click here, select base, click here, select bottle, click here, select special liquid. Okay, now you see the system has shown me the unit of measurement here. I can go ahead now and input the quantity that is required. Let's say for base, we use 15 grams to produce this, or let's even say we use 700 grams to make this, and we use 48 bottles, and we use the special liquid. Let's assume we use 1000 for this. You see, the system has calculated how much. Let me even make it say 20,000. The system has calculated the quantity, the total cost for each of the raw materials to produce these 48 pieces. If you scroll down, it has calculated that you need 218,000 to be able to produce 48 pieces of this product. Okay, I can go ahead and submit. Remember that if you want to delete something, you can click here to delete, and you can always update your recipe because recipe is something that changes from time to time. Okay, so I'll close this. Let's go and view our production requirements. If I click on view production requirements now and fetch data, you see we have a production requirement here. I can click here to view the production requirement, which I can click to add, or I can remove anything from here, or I can change the quantity and go ahead and submit. Okay, but I'm not going to do that. This one allows you to duplicate the production requirement. There's a tutorial video that talks about how to do that in details. Okay, so now if we want to produce, it becomes very simple because we've registered product, we've registered production requirements. If we want to produce right now, and I go to product stock intake and I click on register production intake, system wants to know the date this item was produced. I can select the date. If it was today, I just leave it as today. And product produced, I click here to select the product. System wants to know what did we produce? Was it in pieces? Was it in dozen? Was it in cartons? So let's assume we produced pieces, excuse me, and we produced, let's assume we produced 100 pieces. Now, you see the system is showing us something here that unit in stock of stock item special liquid in main store is less than the specified quantity. This transaction may not execute because we don't have, remember, we did not enter the quantity of raw materials that we have. So, but if you also notice, based on the recipe that we set, the system has also helped us to calculate the unit cost of producing one piece of this item. Look at the unit of measurement is in pieces, and this is the unit cost price, and this is our selling price. So if you do this and you notice that your unit cost price is higher than your selling price, then you might need to look at your recipe again, and if the recipe is correct and the cost of the raw materials are correct, then you need to change your selling prices for this particular item, and you can change it by just typing whatever you want here. Okay, I'll clear this. Now, if you scroll down, you notice that the system has also showed us the different raw materials required to produce this item. You're only saying this because we're using the super admin account, this is user one, but it's supposed to give, let's say, the production officer the privilege to register production requirement, but not see the recipe. So the person will only enter the quantity that was produced, and system will help calculate the cost price and all, but we will not allow the person see the information as far as the recipe card is concerned, or the production requirements, as we call it. Now, system has calculated that this is the value required to produce this amount is what is required to produce 100 pieces of this particular item based on the recipe that we have set. Okay. And in your organization, if you have raw materials, the raw materials you have, the person who is logging into register this production intake, the raw material needs to be in that person's office location. It's very important. If I'm currently now, I'm logged into the retail store, or what's it called now? Let me scroll down. Oh, count, no stay. We're in the retail store. See, we have retail store, wholesale store, branch 3. Now that we're in the retail store, if I want to do stock intake into this other office location, branch 3, I'll need to click here and switch to branch 3 to do it. If I stay in retail store and tell the system that, oh, this item was produced in, say, branch 3, the system would throw an error. It won't respond. I will need to switch into that office location by simply clicking here and selecting that particular office location. All right. So, but we are not going to do that in this particular demonstration. So I'll select this one, main store. Okay. Then here, if I go ahead and submit, it's not going to go through successfully. And if you change, if let's assume you tampered with the selling price here, you can check this box for it to update. All right. So if the quantity is also different, you can also click here to update the quantity as well. But if your recipe is very solid, and accurate, then this, you leave it like this. The moment we submit, the system is expected to add 100 pieces of this product into your product inventory in this particular warehouse and office location, and use this as the cost price, and use as 4,541.66 kobo as the cost price and 10,000 as the selling price, and at the same time deduct all these materials, this quantity, using this unit of measurement from the raw material inventory. But that is not going to work now. Why? Because, let me submit. So you see, if you don't have those items, we did not do material stock intake. So how do you do material stock intake? Let's go ahead. We'll leave this one here. Go to material inventory, material stock intake, register material intake. System would want to know the date. Let me maximize this. The date the raw materials was purchased, the supplier that supplied the raw material, the warehouse where the raw material was received into. You can type here to select the invoice, to type in the invoice number of the supplier, the invoice the supplier gives to you. I'll click here. Let's select this particular supplier, and I'll click here to select the item. Let's assume this particular person is one that supplied all this raw material. Usually the case though. Then let's assume this base we bought it in drum, the bottles we bought in carton, and the special liquid we bought in 30 liters. Okay, here we bought 1 drum, but say 10 drums. Here we bought cartons, we bought 20 cartons, and here we bought 25 liters. Now, system has calculated, but let me say we bought 250 liters. System has calculated the amount you're supposed to pay to the supplier, right? You see it here. It has calculated it. But let's assume you also spend some money to bring in this item, to transport this item, or to clear these items. Eh? And you want to factor that into your cost of production, even though you don't want it to reflect as the amount you're supposed to pay to your supplier. That's where this other unit cost comes in. So let's assume for this base, we spent 1,000. You spend 1,000. Let's assume we spend 10,000 to bring in this base or to transport the base. If I type 10,000 here, that will not be correct because it's going to multiply 10,000. Let me just type it. It's going to multiply 10,000 times 10, the quantity. You can see if we go to the total unit cost, it's now showing 100,000. However, we're supposed to divide the total amount we spend by the quantity. So if we spend 10,000 and we brought in 10 pieces, that means it comes up to 1,000 per drum. So you can see here additional cost is just 10,000, which is correct. If for the bottle, same thing, let's say we spent let's assume the company delivered the bottles for us at 20,000 naira for these 20 bottles. If we divide 20,000 by 20, it will come up to 1,000 still. So if you come here, you can see now that our total unit cost now is now come up to 30,000. Let's assume the special liquid was delivered to us free. You might be saying, okay, I spent just one amount to bring in all these things. Then you can just spread the costs amongst the item or associate it to just one item. The most important thing is for the system to help you add that into your cost of production. Okay, so now I'll go ahead. I can check this box if payment was made to the supplier and select the amount enter the amount that was paid to the supplier. If I enter a figure now, let's assume only 20 million was paid to this person. Is it correct? This 20 million, right? System will want to know this 20 million, how did we pay it? Was it cash? Was it via transfer and all? If I say, oh, it was from bank, system will want to know which particular bank, and you can go ahead and select from the list of banks that you have. And you can come here to register finance, to register bank account. And when you're registering bank account, remember that you also see this option here. Let me maximize this. You also see the option that tells you to map general ledger accounts. So in order to do this, you still need to go to finance, general account, and this only applies to people that enabled accurate accounting, general account, and the account type for this case would be bank and cash. Let me just show you. Create account is going to be account type is going to be bank and cash for a bank account. All right. But I'm not going to register a bank account in this example. We have tutorial video that covers that aspect. So here, let me maximize this again. So I'll go ahead. Let's assume the supplier was not paid. System would assume we are owing the person. Or if I say the person was paid, let's assume the person was not paid. Okay. And system will assume that we are owing the person this amount of money. But it's not going to add this 30,000 to the amount you're owing the person because it's other costs. And if the price of these items change when you're purchasing them, feel free to click here to change the prices. Once you've done that, always remember to check this box here. See this box? Always remember to check it. And if in your organization you use them barcode, you register when you're registering your raw materials, you inputted their barcode, you can click here and scan the barcode on the item. If you're using a laptop, if you're using a smartphone, just click on this icon here, and it will activate your device camera so that you can use that camera as a barcode scanner. But I'll just go ahead and submit. It will prompt you. So now, this is because for the other cost, we did not specify how we made payment for the other cost. So let's assume this, let's say we didn't pay the supplier, but we paid for the other cost, and it was via bank transfer, and we selected this particular bank, and I'll submit. Now you see it's gone through successfully. Now that it has gone through, you see this, and if we close this and we go and view the materials that we have in stock under material inventory, material stock, view material in stock. Let me close this, and I fetch data. I can specify by location, by product status, availability option, and all, but let me just fetch data. You see the items that we registered. Let me search for it in the this main storage outlet. So you see the items that we have here. For this one, system keeps the unit of measurement for us here in pieces. For this one in ml, this one in grams, and these are the unit prices based on this quantity. The stock value is this times this to get this. Shows you the warehouse, the location, the last stock date, the supplier that supplied it, and the category. Now you can see the description. This is 20 cartons, this is 10 cartons, this is 10 drums. And down here, you get to see the stock value and the quantity, and we have just 3 different raw materials. All right, so let's take note of this. We'll come back to it after we've produced. So remember, the system did not allow us to produce because we didn't have those items available in stock. But let's go ahead and produce now. If I want to produce this time around and I click on submit, it prompts me. You see, it has gone through successfully. Now, it has given this production a badge number. You can see there's a badge number for this production. And if I want to submit this, give this to someone, I can say remove price and amount. It will just have only the quantity. If I do that, you see the way it appears. But if I click here and reload, it will appear again the way you want it to appear. Now, let me close this. If you look at this, the system also gives us to register production participants. Here, I can register the staff members that participated in this batch of production. Okay, I can just click here. It will take me to where I can specify the different staff members, but I'm not going to submit this. Okay, now that we've produced, if we go to products, raw material in stock, and in the main store warehouse, fetch data, you see that the quantity here has reduced. Even in terms of cartons, we now have 9 cartons and this ml, 9 drums and 8,541.67 grams for base. Okay, so that's for this one. Now, let's also go ahead, still under material inventory, material usage, view material usage for this particular location. And I fetch data. So here you can see that these are the office location, and these are the raw material that was used. See the value of raw material that was used. See the quantity for each of these items, and you can click on this badge to reference number to see what it was used for. So it tells you that it was used for 100 pieces of this special bar soap. Okay, for 100 units of special bar soap, 50 grams. All right. Now, let's go and view our products to see if the product was also added in stock. If we go to view stock and select a particular warehouse, you can see that we now have 100 pieces here. Look at the selling price, the cost price, the stock value, the sales value, and all. If you also want to add wholesale price, or such that if somebody is buying one, system will give it to the person at the normal selling price. The person is buying 10, you will get it at a more reduced price. And the person is buying 50 at a much more reduced price. That option is also possible. If you also want to set a price variation, where the person writing the invoice, is at liberty to specify the exact price that should apply for that particular customer, it's possible. All right. And there are tutorial videos that shows how to do that. But here, you notice that there are a couple of icons here. Here you can view your stock card. Here you can transfer stock to another warehouse. Here you turn items back to supplier, but it doesn't apply to companies that produce what they sell because you produce the items anyway. Here, you can move items to bin, assuming some items get bad in your possession. Here, you can do stock adjustment, but all these functionalities will not appear in every system user's account except you give them the privilege to use it, including the cost price or selling price, and even the quantity you have in stock. Right. Now, if you want to change your reorder level to something else, here where you have RL, you can click to edit the reorder level. You can put the new reorder level. What you've done should take effect in only this office location, or you should apply globally. All right. Then here you can click here to change selling price of this item to whatever you want. But remember, system is the one that helped us calculate the cost price automatically based on our recipe. Okay, so let's close this. Now that we've done all of this, the next thing I would want to do is to just go and sell items to a customer. So this time around, we'll go to sales, and we'll go to invoice, write invoice. Remember, it's also possible to link your ERPRev account to your e-commerce website, especially the sites that are designed with WordPress and uses WooCommerce. And there's a tutorial video that shows how you can do the linking such that the inventory in ERPRev and the website will be the same. And as customers are buying either from your shop physically or from your website, the system will be updating, they'll be communicating with each other and be updating the quantity so that you don't get to sell an item to customer that you don't have. Okay, that way you won't have to do a lot of returns. Okay, so here on write invoice module, we have different ways with which you can write an invoice. There's normal writing invoice, there's write invoice touch only, there's write invoice only category, but I'm going to use this. And we have tutorial videos that show you how to use all these different options. Okay, but for this example, I'll use the conventional write invoice model. Click here. System wants to know who do we want to sell to. So if this person is a returning customer, you can search by customer name. You don't need to type the full name, just some letters in that person's name and fetch data. If you have the person's mobile number, you can type it here. If you have the person's email, you can type it here. If you know the customer's ID itself, you can type it here. All right. Then if it's a new customer, you click add new customer. And if you don't want your staff to register one person multiple times, just make sure that you enable the option that says that mobile number should be unique, such that if they register a customer and that mobile number already, they try to register a new person and the person that mobile number already exists, Rather than allow them register that new person, that new customer, it will point them to the existing customer record you have with that mobile number. Okay, so I'll just show you briefly here. Once you're done, if you're searching for someone, you click here. If it's a new customer, if you add here, you can add the details and submit. But let me just clear. And by default, it's also good we have customer with ID one that is called walk-in customer. So if I type one here, this customer ID and fetch data, you see there's a walk-in customer. This should only be used for customers that do not provide their contact, that do not want to provide their name and mobile numbers. And there's no point registering a customer who you don't have the person's mobile number or the person's email. It's needless. Okay. So let's assume we want to sell to a walk-in customer. If you want to add a new customer, like I said, click on add new. Sorry, let's take that again. Okay. Go to sales, invoice, write invoice. Click here. You can search ID1 for walk-in. Click here to add a new customer. You see the name, mobile number, and all of that. You can even select the gender, the country, the state, the day, date of birth. Is just majorly day and month that is necessary. Okay. Now you don't need the year. You can just fill in their mobile number. Like your mobile number is compulsory. You can put their email. If you want email to be compulsory, if you enable it in the settings, you'll notice that there will be a red asterisk beside it. Anything that has red asterisk, it means it's a compulsory field. Okay, I'm just going to use customer with ID 1. So here, walk-in customer. If you want a situation whereby, your staff members can backdate transaction, you can give them the option of doing that, right? So I've set the time now, but if you want to backdate, it's also possible. But if you don't want them to be able to backdate transaction, don't give them that privilege. We are only able to do this because we're using the user one account. Now here, I'll click here to select the item. It's also possible to use barcode. If you're using a barcode, you click here and scan the barcode on the item and it will pop up. But remember, you need to enable the use of barcode scanner for this to work. So we have only one product for now. I select that item. Let's assume we want to sell 24 pieces. This is pieces price. What if we change this to dozen? You see, it has changed to dozen, but we don't have up to 24 dozens. Let's assume we sold 2 dozens. So the system has recalculated it. Now here, the system wants to know the amount that the customer paid. If in your organization, customers usually pay completely, you can configure it so that you said that customers usually pay completely. That way, this amount paid fee will be auto-filled for you automatically. But if in your organization, customers can pay and pay later, or customers can pay more than the amount of the items they are buying now, and the remaining amount is added to the account so that they can use to buy next time, then that setting is also possible. So in this particular, I assume that this person paid 200,000 only. And in terms of the payment, let's assume the person paid 100,000 cash and 100,000 to the bank. It could be 100,000 to via POS, 100,000 via transfer. That is also possible. It could even be 100 different amount of money to different bank accounts. It's possible. So let me just click on split because it will show us the cash and bank is very straightforward. So for split, let's assume the person paid you 100,000 cash. Then I'll click here to the second tab. That's part the next part remains too. The person paid 100,000 via bank, and I can go ahead and select the bank and select the payment type. Very important. So let's assume the person paid via POS, and you can enter the dates and all date deposited. But remember that this date of bank transaction should be the exact date that the monies hit your bank account. Okay, then payment due date only applies to people who are buying on credit. If I select this payment due date, I can tell the system that, okay, this person has planned to come and balance, as in pay the balance in 1 week time. Then I go ahead and submit. The moment I submit this, it will prompt me about to execute this. Should I say yes? So you see, we have our invoice, but here you can already see that the customer is owing some monies. It's showing. Let me go back and print this. If we open invoice for print, let me close this. It's showing that the customer's current balance is 40,000. It's possible for you to say, okay, I don't want this to appear on the customer's printout. You can remove it from the settings. Now, there's an option here for you to change the layout. But before you change the layout, you can see, let me show you a couple of things here. You see the customer name, the customer address, the current balance. If the phone number was there, you see the phone number here, the invoice ID, the date, time of this transaction, the user ID, the payment due date. There's option to print waybill. There's option to register return in words. You see the item, and you can see that the payment mode was mixed. Total amount paid, the VAT, and it was VAT inclusive. Here you can print, you can save as PDF, you can email transaction, you can share, maybe via WhatsApp and any other channel. You can copy the URL and send to the person. If the person clicks on that URL, it will bring out this invoice transaction. And you can click here to change the layout. So I'll change this layout to, let's say, POS, assuming POS layout. Let's assume you're using a thermal machine to print. So I'll say POS layout 1 to show me in POS layout. Can select POS layout 2, shows me the different option. Okay. If you say in your company you don't want customers' information, this whole field that says customer ID, customer name, and all to appear, it is possible to configure all of that. All right. Now that we have sold, I want us to see view our invoice. If we go to view invoices for today, fetch data, you see that we have an invoice here, and the total is 240 from this customer, this date and time. This is the VAT total and stroke VAT because it's VAT inclusive. If it was exclusive, the 18,000 will be added to 240 and it will appear here. Now, you see on the column, you see there's 200,000 here, and there's also an option that says attach receipt. But if the customer did not pay anything at all, then you see two options. Instead of attach receipt, you see two options that says write receipt or mark paid. Write receipt would only apply if the customer is coming to pay completely. If the person is owing, say, 40,000, is coming to pay the whole 40,000. That's when you say 240,000, right? And it's coming to pay the whole 240,000. You click on write receipt. But if you see mark paid, if you click on mark paid, you're telling the system that, oh, this person already made payment before, and the payment receipt only was raised for the person. So you now want to attach that invoice to the receipt that the person made before. All right. But here, because the person made part payment, the system is showing us the option that says attach receipt. So let's assume the person has come to pay this 40,000. There are two ways to do it. I can click on this attach receipt and enter, or the ideal option is to go to Still under sales, go to receipt, write receipt, select the date the person is paying, select the customer, enter the amount. This person is also coming to pay part of the outstanding, not everything. Then impute the purpose. This time around, let's say money still went to bank, but it was via transfer. Today, I can go ahead, put the name of the depositor. I'll just say NA. Now, here, down here, is very important. System has displayed for us down here all the invoices that the customer either did not make any payment at all or made part payment. And in this case, the person made part payment. Total invoice amount is 240. The person paid 200,000. Balance to pay is 40,000. So what's the invoice ID? ID 1, I'll type 1 here. So system will know that, okay, this particular payment receipt you're about to write is for this particular invoice. But let's assume the person has several outstandings. The person has several outstandings invoices and is making one lump payment. Then you don't need to type anything into this invoice ID field. It's optional, like I said earlier. Then go ahead and click on submit. If anytime you click on submit, you need to check something. Your browser, like now, I'm selecting a time that is in the future. System would, as in we've not even gotten to this time yet. So the system did not allow me do that. So let's assume it's now. See, it prompts me. Should I proceed? I say, yeah. Did I say leave? Oh my goodness. Sorry about that. Okay. All right. I'll take it again. I'll go to sales, receipt, write receipt. But before we even write receipt, so let's even look at view customers. If I view customers and I tell the system to show me all our debtors, you see the person information is here at 40,000. So let's tell the system that customer with ID 1. Demo, bank, transfer, and I submit. Okay, so now it's registered. If we go back and view customers and fetch data, it's no longer owing. We can click here to view the customer's ledger. So you can see the invoice, payment receipts, the two 100,000 and the 40,000. Person is not owing anything. Okay, that's just by the way. Now we can also view sold products. Let me even do view sold products through profit on sales. Then an option which you can see. So now you look at this. Shows that 2 dozen was sold. Unit cost price, sold price, amount, cost price, profit margin, and all of that for this particular customer. And if we go and view our product in stock, you'll notice that we now have 76 units from 100 units. And if I click here, here to view the stock card history, special bar soap and all of that, and transaction dates, get details white. So you see 100 was produced, 24 was sold to walk-in customer, and it shows you the total in, and it shows you the total out. Hmm? Okay, so you can see that. You can see, right? Total in, total out. Now here you can see other additional information. There's an option here that says total sold but not yet supplied. This only applies to organizations that enable the options that the option where you can sell an item but not supply immediately after invoice is raised. So it's only when you mark the item as supplied. Most times people that do this are people who item still raise the invoice. Once the item is available in stock, they will now convert that, they will now mark that invoice as supplied. Okay, so you'll always be able to see. Okay, here. All right. So there are different ways in which you can view different reports. If I go to our dashboard now, based on all that we've been doing, system has been populating our dashboard based on these different transactions that we've done so far. And we have tutorial videos that show how to do all of it. And this is just a basic flow of what you can do your ERP rep. But if you want to have enjoy everything extensively, the expenses parts, payments to supplier, the strategic reports, all the financials, create different office locations and all of that. We have tutorial videos. And at the same time, you can request for the service of an ERP rep expert to help you set up your account. You pay the expert directly for that service after the person is done, and the person will also provide after sales support for a period of 30 days. Now, you say, how can I quickly get help? It's very easy. All you need to do is to click here. Let me show you. Here, you can click here. If you click here, the system will take you to where you can chat with our, you can do three things here actually. One is that you can chat with our AI assistant, Jaden, and ask Jaden questions. So for instance, I can ask Jaden how to write invoice, how to write receipts, how to delete expenses, how to register a new user, how to register staff, just basic how-to questions. It will recommend a video and will also give you an option for you to rate how the robot performs. So for instance, I say, okay, how, how to write invoice. Let me see if I typed it correctly. How to write invoice. I can click here. It will check. You see, it brings out how to write invoice. This time around, it's showing us how to write invoice touch screen option. So you can watch the video. And if I play this video now, let me see. Let me see how to delete the expenses. Same. All right. So you have an idea how that one works. Now you can always rate the feedback that is given to us so that we can train the model. Then you have also have the option of chatting with an agent, a live agent. If anyone is available, you can chat with the person, and the person would either recommend a video or would guide you on how to get answers to whatever questions you may have. Then, if the person is not able to give you all the necessary information you require, then you'll be advised um, to chat and open a support ticket. You can click here to open a support ticket, your company email or your own email, mobile number. You can select if it's a comment, complaint, suggestion, customization request, or orders. So you can make inquiries. Once you're done, you create it, and we would receive it and respond within 48 hours. Then, secondly, you can also go to our help center. If you go to the help center, you see we have help stroke support over here. If you click on help stroke support, you can click on help stroke knowledge base. It will take you to our website, the help center of our website. Here, the same way the software is structured, like the way you have home administration, finance, procurement, product inventory, you can do all of that. Like, for example, under general administration alone, if you click here, you notice that we have different videos. If you still go back to administration, we have things under edit general company preferences, things that have to do with. We also have some settings that have to do with email, reversals. If I click on, for example, you want to know how to add additional user license, how to renew your license, how to request for an expert. Under software license, you'd see all those tutorial videos here. Okay. If it has to do with, oh, how do I bring mass import my products? If you go to help, you can product inventory, product stock importation. This is a tutorial video. You can do that. You can click here to search. Now, if you have an Android device or you don't want to be going through your browser to do this, then you can go to pages, click on downloads. Now, this is the desktop browser, this one for Windows, while this one is the Android client for your Android device. Then for those that use WordPress and you want to link your WordPress to your ERPRev account, you can download the plugin, latest plugin here. Okay, we update it from time to time. Then for iOS users, you can use Safari, you can use Google Chrome, you can use Firefox, and what advise that you save your login page as a home screen on your home screen, so that anytime you want to log in, you don't need to open the browser and start searching for the URL. From your home screen, you can just click on the ERPRev icon and it will take you straight to the login page where you can input your user ID and password. And since I'm using an Android device for this demonstration, I've already installed the application. If you're trying to install it, tell you, oh, it could harm your device, just because you're actually downloading it from our website and not from Google Play Store. All right. So this is what the the app looks like. Now I think I changed the password. It's not going to go through. So I'll just go ahead and change the password to the new password. All you need to do, if you're opening it for the first time, copy the access URL we sent to you and paste it here. Copy it and paste it here. put your user ID here, then type in the password that you changed to here. Now I'm going to enter this captcha. So it's MRW23. Okay. So it's going to take you straight into your account. All right. So you can see there's so many things you can do here. There's so many things. So many things. So many things. You can set different notifications to come. You can change your dashboard gadgets. You can do so much. You can do so much, and we've not really covered everything, but at least you have a basic idea of how to quickly set up your ERPRev account and start using it. But you can always go to administration, software license details. You can add more system user. You can renew your current subscription. You can additional service, but it comes highly recommended. That way you take full advantage of all that the system has to offer. All right, so that's all for now.